A good way to start the stream with that squeak. Did I mistype? Signing, singing? What? No, I'm okay. Okay, we got a ton of different things to do this morning. A ton of different things. We've got this lined up. What's the order here? I think, let's start with the quiet stuff first. We've got some banging to do, but let's hang off on that. First step up, I guess, this morning is we've got some checking and signing still of the poets' prints. Those of you who were here a few days ago, I still haven't finished this job yet. We have a pending order for a full set of our 100 Poets series. And in between the other jobs this week, I'm trying to get these sorted out. Today I'm trying to finish checking the prints, looking for bark and stuff, and signing them. I've got the last 40 to do this morning. The staff, meanwhile, is working on getting folders ready for getting them packed. Then what's next today after I get that done is I've got to spend some time. We've got a set of blocks here. These are our own blocks. They're actually very old. I would have carved them about, 20 years ago. And we've made many, many prints from them. And the girls are complaining some of the parts are getting a bit worn out. So this morning I have to retouch some of the carving for this these set of blocks. That'll take, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. And if I've still got time left, I've got 2 packages of prints that I received from two of our printers. And those prints have to be checked and get ready for shipping to our Ome shipping center. So that's what's up this morning. It's a bit of signing, it's a bit of recarving, and it's a bit of print checking. So let me get to it here. What's somebody asking here? Can we see the owl? I put the owl in the other room in the background for the YouTube videos. Is this something I need to do right now? I guess so. Okay, let's do this. Is this going to become a thing? Do I need to keep it in this room? I don't know if this is going to become a meme or something. Hi, for those of you who weren't here the other day, I got a package from my mother just on the same day that it was her birthday, as it happened. And so she sent me a birthday present. She sent us an owl. And what I'm going to do, I guess, is keep it in the other room so it sits in the background of the YouTube videos all the time. I don't think there's room to keep it here. Maybe I could keep it up there so you see it there. I'm not sure. Is that good enough for now? Okay. A mascot. I don't know if my mother's on here today or not. I don't know. She was quite happy the other day. All the people saying good happy birthday to her. There can't be too many 91-year-olds on Twitch, I think. I don't know. All right, let's get to this. Where's my sign pencil? I'm going to do this. It's difficult to tell, I guess, from where you are with the light, but a lot of these prints have embossing. I don't know if it's going to show or not. The kimono patterns are embossed on here. It was a fun project for 10 years. Yes, Mom's there. Look at this. So again, so you can see this owl is clearly going to become part of our system here. Look at this. So my stream has an honorary mother, not an honorary mother, a real mother. Back when I made these prints, this is more over 20 years ago now, I know the paper quality was really much higher than it is now. There's very little bark, there's very little mess in the prints at all. If I had known what the current paper was going to be like back then, I would have bought tons and tons of it and put it aside. But of course, we had no idea what was going to happen. But there's a few defects here and there still, so. That wasn't cheery. I can't blame that one on the paper maker. That was me. There was a dab of sumi on the paper on the block there. Someone's asking what the difference is between the paper then and now. Simply it's quality. I know over the intervening couple of decades, the quality has slumped. I know it's due to many, many factors. I know the demand for this paper all through the 20th century dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. There were many, many workshops making it back in the old days and even in the early parts of the 20th century. But over the years, as the demand dropped, because so few interesting prints were being published, there was nothing but the tourist business left. The demand dropped, the workshops fell away one by one by one. And we're now down to really the last two, perhaps three workshops who make this specific kind of paper. And I think it's a natural, it's nothing evil that these guys are doing. It's a natural consequence of the reduced demand that the quality dropped. You know. The number of people who knew what good paper is just dropped. You know. Follow both things here too. So I know, as maybe some of you who were here the other day too, we took this particular customer and we gave him the option. I think I've got one here. If I can do this without pulling the plug out of my computer. Because we're basically making this set to order for the customer, not the prints. We're making the packaging. We gave him the option. I mean, here's a sample. This is a print in the package. And this one, it's trimmed. We took away the selvage, took away the mimi. Last time we made prints, packaged them in this form. And because this new set's being packaged just for this customer, we gave him the option to have the paper trimmed or to leave it in a natural selvage. And he wanted it natural, so it's easier for me actually to do it this way. We're going to package these today and tomorrow. And we're going to leave the natural and all. Again, I don't know how much of these things to explain every day. We talked about this the other day. The way we get the paper, if I zoom out a bit, when we get the paper from the paper maker, the dimensions of the paper are about like this. This is a single sheet of paper as we get it to print 2 of these prints. And this is about the same size as a typical, the Great Wave print or whatever. To make these prints, we cut the paper in half. So we lose the natural line on one side. And then in order to put it into our registration marks, we have to cut also one corner here on a 90-degree corner. So the finished print comes out with one straight edge and natural selvage around the outside. We call it mimi in Japanese. Ears, mimi, the ears of the paper. And this collector, when Cameron wrote to him the other day, the collector said, sure, if it's possible, I'd like to leave the natural selvage there. So it will be. One funny thing for me is sometimes I get, every few months, I get the catalogs from the various print shops downtown. The people who deal in the old prints we're talking about, not new publishers, but the print shops downtown. I get their catalogs, and the first thing I do is I flip to the back section of the catalog, because usually the catalogs are arranged by, they put the expensive old stuff at the front, then they work their way down, then they put the modern stuff, and then they put miscellaneous things at the back of the catalog. And frequently, my own prints are in there. I come up, I look in the catalog, and there's maybe it might be a partial set or a broken set of my poets prints in there. People who bought them from me 20, 25 years ago. A lot of those people have actually passed away now, and their kids or their inheritors put the prints into the market. So it's a measure of how old I am now that my own stuff is coming back into the used market. Someone's asking, about this straight edge. Why not use it? Why not, tear it apart so that it makes a decal? We have no choice. We need that straight edge for printing. We need a good, clean straight edge for putting this thing in the registration marks for printing. If we did a natural decal, we'd have to cut this corner and cut one line there. It would still look a bit funny. And anybody who's going to frame these frames them anyway to mat out that decal. So. I think I signed David Bill on that one instead of David Bull. Here's one. Look at this. This is unusual. There's a big lump of, I don't know if we can see this or not. Let me get it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. There's there's a piece of bark just inside the paper. It's between the top surface and the bottom surface. I don't know if it's going to be visible. Get the owl out of the way here, excuse me. Yeah, you can see something here. See the shadow of my finger. And what you're seeing the lights from the back here. So you see the shadow of my finger, and there's a piece of bark inside the paper. And it's visible as a shadow from the front. The question is, do I take it out from the back or do I take it out from the front? I think I'm going to take it out from the back. Let's see if we can do this. Try and zoom in here. Just a minute. Let me try and get this. You may be able to catch this. Can you see the little bump there? This is a bump where the little thing is bumping up the paper on the back. Let's try this. What I'm going to try and do, announce what I'm going to try and do before I actually do it. Can we still see it? I can't watch the video and the thing at the same time. I'm going to try and slice into the paper, but not cut through to the front. Slice 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try and open a flap. Open a flap and expose that thing. And there, look, there it is. Can you see it coming out? I'm under the microscope so I can see it. There's a piece of bark coming out. So we've opened a flap. This is surgery. Opened a flap, peeled out the bark, a tiny dab of glue back in the spot. This is the same glue. I say glue, it's paste. It's the same paste we use when we're printing, so this isn't going to do anything bad to the paper. Close up the flap again. Get rid of our little freeloading piece of bark. Look at that. I think we got away with it. Let's have a look. Back into the scope. Let's zoom back out. And let's have a look again. And what you see now is a tiny, see it there? A tiny bit of a light spot just at the end of the tip of my fingers, a shadow. Because the paper is now a tiny bit thinner in that spot where the bark was. But when we look at it from the front now, because it is light and white, there's no way. This is completely now invisible. The fact that the paper is a tiny bit thinner there is irrelevant. Nobody will ever notice it. Good, got lucky there. Nice clean one. Anybody need any brain surgery, just give me a call. Why wasn't the bark removed during the printing process? The bark was hidden inside the paper. I know the bark, obviously it's a piece of bark that fell in or whatever it was in when the people were rocking the paper. If it had been something on the front of the paper where the printer could see it and maybe pick it off, it would have been okay. But it was hidden inside the paper. And the printer, actually it was me 20 years ago or whatever. Just print, 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 print. If it had come up inside the face or something, that sheet would have been rejected at that time. But this was just a little trivial dimple on the paper, and the printer, me, it's not his business to muck around with that kind of stuff. Sometimes you can't get them out if it's too much bark or if it's in a critical place. We're up to number 73 here. We're on the way to 100. This is number 73. If I was really showing off, I would be sitting here reciting the poetry to you, but no way. I can't do that anymore. When I was making these things, I studied the poems, I studied the calligraphy, but no way. It's all gone now. Oh, this one's full of stuff, not so visible from the front. I don't know if you can see this. Can we do the same thing? Excuse me, Mr. Owl, you're a little bit in the way right now. There's another one there. I don't think so. It's barely visible from the front. I don't think I should fool around. Now, if we look at it from the front, you can maybe see something there. I don't think this should fool around. It's just going to be disruptive, I think. Oh, I know. There's something else I meant to mention to you guys this morning. When I did my email check this morning when I was having breakfast, you guys are talking about printmaking. There was an interesting, something came up on Yahoo Auctions this morning here in Japan. For those of you who don't know about this, Anna, there's no eBay here in Japan. Most of the auction stuff is done on Yahoo. Yahoo Auctions is very, very, very big. And every day, every night, prints come up, wood blocks come up, old tools come up, all kinds of stuff comes up. We're watching it all the time. An interesting auction came up this morning. I'm not going to buy this. I'm not going to bid on this, but this is so much fun. Have a look at this. It's an old type of press, printing press. It's, well, whatever. Have a look at it. Those of you who are interested. This is not Japanese woodblock printmaking. This is a small printing press. And if I had some time, I would love to buy this and play with this as a hobby. I don't know what it's called. There's a specific name for this kind of press. Somebody out there will know more about this than I do. And it's up for auction. The starting price is 50,000 yen, which is what, $500. And it's got a buy now button for $1,000. And it looks like so much fun to take that apart and clean the rust and try using it. For making crepes, yeah, like it so. This is a good example here to talk about some of that poets. Let me grab the original book. I had it at hand here. Here's something about the Poets series here. We showed this the other day. This is the original book. You know, I reproduced for the Poets series. Here's one of my prints. Let's find the original that matches. Something interesting to mention here. Somewhere around here, 70. Here we are. This is the original book from 1775 that I reproduced. And let's compare one of the originals. Let me see it. Here it is. It's one of the emperors. This is Juntokuin, one of the emperors. And you can see what I've done. I followed basically the same color scheme, lightened it up a little bit. They were trying to keep the book as cheap as possible, so they kept the number of colors quite a lot down. They weren't willing to spend too much money. The book would have just become way, way too expensive if they had done that. And so what I've done is I did things like this. They just splashed the same color here on this tassel. So I took the trouble to make a bit of a different tassel, a bit of a different color on the kimono. Made it a bit more visually, interesting. But also I did things like this. When this book was by the time this book was printed, the gradation printing technique hadn't yet been invented. None of these prints have gradations. But look at this. There's a I forget what it's called, sudare, I forget the English word, a screen, roller screen above him. So when it came time for me to do the screen, I took the trouble to go to the extra step of putting in a gradation along the bottom of it, where it rolls around. It would have gone a bit darker. So my prints are not exact, perfect reproductions of the ones in the original book. They're, in that sense, they're adaptations of them. This is cool, 1775. It's just an indication of how good that paper is, how strong that paper is. Anyway, back to work, Dave. We've got too much to do here this morning. It goes on, this gentleman who's bought these prints this week, he's paying me for them. He's going to keep them for a while. And the prints themselves will easily last a couple of 100 years. We talk about this all the time. And where these prints will go, where they'll end up, well, there's no end, but where they will go next and where they will go next. Who will look at them, who will see them. You're saying who invented gradations? I don't know. It's just some printer fooling around somewhere. They came into common use in ukiyo-e prints in the late 1700s, 1780s, and by the time 1790s come along, we see them all over the place. But that book was 1775. I don't know when the absolute earliest example of it is, but gradations came into common use at the end of the 1700s. I keep getting David Bill. I got to be more careful. Why am I signing them? Well, I'm signing them because I made these prints, and I'm not sure what I can say. I'm not signing them as the artist, obviously. They're all embossed here. It's embossed at the bottom. Picture and calligraphy are Katsukawa Shunsho. Carving and printing, David Bull. And Shunsho isn't here to seal them and sign them, but I am, so I'm putting my name on. There's no intent that people would think they are my picture, my design, obviously. As to why signings go in pencil, I know that's just simply the custom in printmaking. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. I think perhaps pen ink might be too prone to spreading or something like that. Pencil is just clean and clear, and nearly all artworks that are signed in pencil. There's a dot there. That's a dot on the front of the paper. We can get rid of that. Yeah, this is another bit of bark. It's just slightly below the surface. We can just get rid of it with the front. We're up to number 83. 17 more. Hang on, guys. Then we'll get some carving done. And there's another one, just like we had before. Let's try another one. Three lines, one at each side, one across the bottom. I'm not cutting through to the front of the print. This is actually a piece of wood. It's not bark, it's wood from the inside of the mulberry. Look at that. 85. 15 left. Oh, this is Saiyo. Saiyo Hoshi, one of the most famous ones. Someone's asking, have I ever found beetle parts as inclusions? No, but we do occasionally get mosquito larvae. I know, Iwano San's paper, that's not so common, but we have paper sometimes from Yamaguchi Kazuo-san. And one particular summer, or I guess it was autumn, I suppose, when we got the paper, summer or autumn, we got the paper, started printing it, and there's this funny little stuff in some of the sheets all over the place. I got under the microscope, and what it is, it's mosquito larvae. So he must have had mosquitoes laying eggs in his, the thing that they rock the paper from. And there was mosquito larvae scattered all over through the paper. They were almost transparent. So we sent a bunch of it back, the ones that had the most visible mess on the front. We sent it back, and maybe he himself had never noticed it. So. The other thing, yeah, you mentioned beetle parts in the paper. Actually, it's a good chance here, if I can find it. I should maybe not talk about this until I find it. The book I've got here, the old Shakunin issue book from 1775. Somewhere along the line, somebody, here it is. If I can do this, should I maybe zoom out just a bit more here? Someone's talking about beetle parts in the book. Well, this isn't beetle parts. What this is if I go in here, this is a leaf. It's a leaf from a ginkgo tree. And it's pressed and dried, and I have no idea how long it's been in there. Some previous owner put at various places in the book, put in some dried pressed ginkgo leaves. It's the Japanese tree called icho. And at first when I saw this, I'm thinking like, what's going on? Why has he done this? But I did a little bit of reading, and it turns out that there is a belief, and this is true or not, I don't know. There's a belief that when you put ginkgo leaves inside your artwork or paperwork or whatever, it keeps away the bookworms. And given that this very same page is eaten by worms, I'm not quite so sure if that's true or not, but perhaps the worms ate that first and then one owner put this inside to help drive them away. I don't know. But there it is, and I don't think this is, it could be 200 years old, I have no idea. Some previous owner, it could be 50 years old, 100 years old, 200 years old, I haven't any idea. But somebody, and it's not just one, there's 4 or 5 or 6 of them stuck in between the pages of this book. I'm just going to put it right back there. It's going to live inside there. Maybe some biologists are interested in a 200-year-old tree leaf. I don't know. Could we do carbon dating on it? And I have no idea if that's a true story, if it does help or not. I have no idea. I just pass it on. Maybe somebody's already on Wikipedia doing research. I don't know. Do ginkgo leaves actually help against bookworms? This was a nice one. Oh my God, this was a nice one. Lots of nice embossing on the kimono, many, many colors. Getting them all lined up at the edge of these kimonos was not trivial at all. It was a good, fun way to spend 10 years, you know. I think, the other day I showed a slideshow about this. I think I kept it up just so people who don't know about this. Again, this is the series. That's the small snapshot taken at the final exhibition in January of 1998. Young Dave and his 100 prints. And this was some years later. One of the universities here in Japan, they have a library with research materials related to this poet series. So they bought my set. And this was one of their own exhibitions when they were exhibiting old books related to the poets. And they put my stuff on exhibition. 100 prints. You can see them there. They're in sets of 10 on the wall there. There's 3 sets at the top, 4 in the middle, and 3 at the bottom. And when I was making it, I broke them up into sets of 10. Trying to catch up with the stream here, sorry. Can't blame this on the paper maker. This is me. There's a blotch of pigment there. Can't blame anybody else about this one. This was a fun one. I know, again, we talked about this the other day. One of the attractions of this book was that the artist, Shuncho, he just depicted all these people in such different moods that you'd never seen before in Japanese prints. You know, everybody else was always, before this, was purely expressionless. But he took each person and put, you know, happy people, sad people, reflective people, moody. It's not 100 different expressions, but there's many, many different expressions, you know. What this is, by the way, this is a winter scene, and what you're looking at is a hibachi. The thing that he is hunched over is one of those ceramic hibachi pots with charcoal and stuff inside. It's not actually burning and flaming. It's a hot charcoal from the stove has been placed in there, and he's trying to keep warm in a Japanese cold winter. Okay, number 92, getting close to the end here. Or the new Twitch stream YouTube channel. I have mixed feelings. It's okay, go for it. I'm happy to have the material out there. It's fine, I guess. I'm laughing as I say this. But one slight downside for me now is that up to now, the things I put on YouTube, as I mentioned in the fan page the other day, up to now, the things I put on YouTube have been curated, you know. I say what I want to say, I make a preparation, I show stuff, and here's what I'm thinking, and, you know, it's an actual production. But now, you guys are doing this, you're putting all these things every day. Now, everything I say online is now being, like, preserved for posterity and stuff, you know. And I'm laughing as I say this, so don't misunderstand. I'm not asking you to stop doing this, but it's a bit of a different feeling for me now. Everything I say is going to be preserved. I mean, do you want to work like that and live like that all the time? What's the question? Is the buyer going to keep the edge? Yes, I mentioned before in the stream, I know we gave him the option of having them trimmed straight or keeping the natural decal, and he asked us to keep the decal. Okay, here's the last two, number 99 and number 100. In the original running of the poets, you know, the last two are emperors. The first two, number 1 and 2, are emperors, and the last two are emperors. And it's cool. The very last one in the series, as it happens in the original book, number 100, the very last one in the book, was, it's a bit wormy in here, but you can see, he opened the design set. Shunsho, when he designed the prints, he opened it with a famous emperor standing behind a transparent screen, and he closed it with the final emperor with the screen rolled down and closed. And I kept that part of the order. I opened with number 1 and I closed with number 100, even though I mixed them up in between. So my own final print was like that. The screen rolls down, there we go, 10 years of work complete. And the very last color I put in, and I remember doing this because TV crews were watching as I printed the 100th copy of the 100th print. The very last color I put in was the gradation on this tassel. And my daughters had come over from Canada to visit me for this. The TV crews were there. There was actually, in the room where I was printing, the TV people and the magazine people, they were wrestling, trying to get position in front of me to get the best shot of this. It was a bit hostile for a few minutes there. I had to tell them, look, shut up, quit. This is a big deal for me. You guys just sit down, shut up, and watch this. It was a bit of a difficult. They were all trying to get the best shot and the best shot and the best shot. Okay, there we go. The 100 prints are checked, signed and sealed, and later today off camera we'll be messing around making folders. Actually, I'll probably still be doing it tomorrow. That might be tomorrow's stream. Here we go. 100 prints. 10 years of work carving them. It took about 1 each month. There we go. How much was this? It was a million yen. It still is a million yen, which is about $10,000 for 100 woodblock prints, which I think is whatever. Not bad, not good. The book we published, the Ukiyo Heroes book, that was 10 prints. They were a bit more. It was 10 prints, so it's $1,500. This is $10,000 for 100 prints. I'm not trying to sell it here. What if we don't have that many sets left, so it's irrelevant here. But okay, good. Now, let's get on some real work. Carve, carve, carve. Enough of that signing business. Okay, what we've got here. Actually, I should link to this. I know if somebody can do this for me. If you go to our Mokuhankan catalog, this is print number 19 in our catalog. How many sets left? I don't know, about 10 or 15 sets left. I'm not quite sure. What is the water? The water here, everybody asks all the time, all the time, all the time. The purpose of the water flask here, it's not a bong. Please, it's not a bong. I don't do that stuff. The purpose of the water, I must have explained this 5,000 times, but it's okay. If there were, I'll try and do this. If there were no flask here, let's move it out of the way just for a minute. If I've just got a light shining on the block, let me get a piece of paper so I can show this. If there were just the light and me, if there's lines to be carved, whatever. When you take, oh, can you see it? Let me zoom in. Okay, here we are. There's the lines I'm going to be carving. The light is right there, and look at this. The shadow of the knife, can you see this? The shadow of the knife is so strong that it's really hard to see which is the line that you're carving and which is the shadow of the knife. But if you put the flask in the way, now the knife becomes, what's the word? It becomes diffused, and the shadow of the knife is no longer strong and sharp. So when I'm carving down a line, I can see clearly what is line and what is shadow. So that's the purpose of this thing. I don't. It also has, you know, also the light, now the bright light is diffused and it doesn't shine in my face strongly. I don't think this is an original old Japanese idea. I think the Japanese started doing this somewhere on the Meiji time. Okay, now what am I doing? Mr. Al, excuse, out of the way here. As I said, this is, did somebody find the link here? It's print number 19 in our catalog. Let me just quickly go and get the link for it. Almost certainly someone's going to beat me to this here. No, I'm the first up. Good, good, good. Okay, this is the print, and these are the blocks for it. And we've made so many copies of this. So many copies of this that the blocks are really worn quite a little bit. And the girls have asked me, please trim around some of the edges of these, because it's getting more difficult for them to print cleanly. So that's my job now for the next half hour or so here. And I'm not sure how well we should zoom in. I know I'm going to be moving the block around quite a bit, so let's try and find a spot here. Is that good enough if I move it around here? Let's see. Are we on camera? Is it focused? Okay, hey. Now again, there's limits to what I can do here. What's been happening is the wood has been wearing away. So the sharp edge has become rounded and lowered. Now I can't put wood back, but what I can do is, what's happening, because it's lowered, they're banging in this area, the area just around the outside of where the printed area is. They're picking up pigment from here. So it's my job now over this morning to try and cut away some of the surrounding area. Here, especially here, they're having real trouble here. So I've got to sharpen this here now. This is perhaps not going to be so interesting. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's something I've got to do here. The lucky part about this print is that there's no outlines on it. If there were outlines and color blocks get worn out, they no longer fit within the outlines. But this print doesn't have outlines. So I can sharpen up these edges without screwing up the block set. You can also see what a mess my fingers are too, the construction downstairs. God, hammering, banging. I was plastering last night. Lisa was painting the ceiling. I plastered the bathroom ready for painting this morning, tomorrow. Got to get some more pictures for you from downstairs. You want to hear the toilet talk to you? We didn't buy that model, I told you. We bought the silent model. I know. We bought, a nice, good, modern toilet. In fact, it was delivered yesterday. The guy tried to bring it upstairs first. When we ordered it, we just ordered it to be delivered to our Asakusa address. And the local delivery driver, this is for the Sagawa company, he knows we're upstairs and not downstairs. So this toilet thing came with 3 different boxes. And he starts hauling him up the stairs because he doesn't know what's going on yet. So luckily, we heard the chaos on the stairs banging this box 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. One of our girls went outside and she stopped him. No, it's for downstairs. So. We bought the model on a good, nice modern toilet, spray, wash, all that kind of stuff. But I didn't. We mentioned this on the stream the other day. I didn't buy the model that talks and that when you open the door to the room, the seat lifts up and says "Ready for service, master" or whatever. I didn't buy that option. So when you visit us and you go to the bathroom, there's no one's going to talk to you in there. So. When we first opened our shop here 3.5 years ago, we had a modern toilet in there, of course, and we realized that was a small problem and that people didn't know how to use it. The control panel is in Japanese, so I had to print up an English explanation sheet how to use the toilet. It's actually not necessary, it's automatic, but nobody knows it's automatic. They go in there and there's no handle, there's no flush button, and they don't know what to do. So. And it's semi-intelligent, the toilet, What do you do about the downstairs storefront? Are you going to paint over it? No, we're going to... of course, we're going to clean the front shutter. And to get shutters hand-painted and stuff are very expensive. And in fact, actually, maybe, now that I think about it, maybe you guys can help me with this. To hand-paint something on the shutter, the basic price quote we got was around, look at you my yen, 600,000 yen. So it's about $6,000 to order from a craftsman the hand painting on the shutter downstairs. Now, there's no way, that's out of our reach. We just can't possibly spend the money on that and do it ourselves. We don't have the expertise or knowledge to know what kind of paint to use and how to make it stick and all that kind of stuff, whatever. So we explored what they're called shutter graphics companies. We poked around, and there's a number of companies that do graphics. You send them your Illustrator or Photoshop file, whatever, and they print it out in horizontal strips on some super special sticky stuff, which you then put onto your shutter in horizontal strips so it rolls up okay, and when it comes down it looks like a picture. But in Japan here, they seem to have a lock on the market. There's a few companies that do it, and they are expensive. And they've priced it just sort of 5, 10, 15, 20% below the cost of a hand-painted shutter. Now their costs must be way lower than this, but they charge what the market will bear. If it's $6,000 to get a hand-painted shutter, then they're pricing their stick-on graphics at $4,000. When reality could be much, much cheaper. So we went online, Cameron and I went online the other day, and we found many, many companies, not here in Japan, but many companies in England that do shutter graphics. I guess there's a lot of problem with graffiti maybe and stuff like this. So putting a new storefront or a new sign on your shutter is much, much cheaper there because it's something that seems to be done more frequently because of the graffiti problem. So Cameron wrote to a bunch of these companies in England, please send us a price quote, blah, 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 blah. And not one of them has written back. Maybe they're just thinking they couldn't be bothered shipping one of these graphics to Japan or wherever, I don't know. So we're a bit stuck at the moment. We thought we'd like to try and buy one overseas, have it shipped over here, but none of the companies we wrote to have taken the trouble to write back to us. So at the moment we're just sort of hanging and we're waiting. It's not important for us right now. We got to get the shop open first. But at some point we do need to get a nice shutter. And $6,000 is just not something I can afford to spend on that right now. Am I on camera? I think I'm... This line was also trouble. I know. I tried printing this one myself. We've got one advantage with our shutter in that this building is north facing. We're on the south side of the street, so it faces north. So we don't have any, the raw sun never strikes that shutter. Well, it does very, very early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning or something on summer mornings for an angle. But no strong sun ever strikes the shutter. So whatever we do put on there should be pretty long lasting. Nice crunch. This wood block is old. I mean, I've been using it for... When did I carve this? This would be the first New Year card after I finished the Poet series. So it would have been 2000. This must have been my New Year's card for 2000. So this block has been around here 18, 19 years. And we've made 1 or 2 copies of this print from it. Yeah. This is a key block. This has lots and lots of wear. They really need help with me on this. So. Are we on camera still? Good. There's a Canadian place in Ontario. Okay, I'll write to them because the ones we wrote to in Britain are not following through. What have we got left? Okay. How long will a wood block last? Well, it depends how many copies you take from it. You know, the most experience we have is our print party room, where the blocks over there get really, really abused. They get printed heavily and roughly by people who don't know what they're doing. And the block set that's in there that's been used the most, we've got 2 or 3 block sets in there now, but the one that's been used the most is the Peach Boy set. And last time we counted, when I made a video about 2 months ago, it had been used just over 8,000 times. So now we're pushing up to about 10,000 times, and the color blocks have been recut. But the key block is still in its original state, a nice strong hard piece of cherry. So it's done around 10,000 copies, and it's still there, it's still hanging in. My fingers are a mess now, I'm sorry. With the construction downstairs, it's really, really difficult. It's winter, everything's dry. Fingers are splitting. see what's going on here. Says everything is much more expensive in Japan. That's not so these days, actually. You know, we're hearing more and more from visitors and viewers and visitors and stuff that prices in Japan really have become much more reasonable over the last few years. You know, this used to be one of those places that was listed as most expensive in the world and stuff. And I think if you're trying to live as one of those, you know, expatriate executives and send your kids to private school and eat nothing but steak and stuff, then yeah, it's an expensive country. But if you live in a normal way, go to normal places, then it's not so bad at all anymore. I know many of the people that I've seen coming here recently have said, my God, the food is so cheap compared to what it was back home. The guest I had here a few weeks ago, he said the same thing. He was quite surprised about how inexpensive and high quality the food was, you know, compared to what he was used to back in England, you know. So on a daily life level, you know, it's not such an expensive place, I think, you know, at least as far as, you know, major global cities go. You know. Back in the bubble area, it just used to be staggering, but now it's okay. How would carvers back in the day do delicate work without a microscope? They were they were younger, meaning whatever. Each carver worked for as long as his eyes would last. I know when they were young, their eyes were good, obviously. As they got older, their eyes got worse. You know, within an ear without lenses and microscopes and glasses. And there's nothing to really say. Each person worked for as long as his eyes would last, I guess, and it's DNA. Some guys could end up doing it longer, and some guys couldn't. And I suppose once your eyes started to go, that was it. You got shifted off delicate work, and you ended up doing rougher work, you know, carving blocks for food wrappers and stuff, you know. There's no documentation on these things, how people organized their jobs in each workshop, but it's obviously, you know, once you got to a certain age and couldn't see what you were doing anymore, you were taken off delicate work. So there were probably very few carvers who worked. You know, I'm 66 now, and if I didn't have glasses and didn't have a lens, I'd be in trouble. I'd be doing nothing but pretty much basic rudimentary work. Because I have these tools, I can keep alive. I can stay working, but it's all DNA. The old guy, I've talked before about this, the old guy who helped me, Ito-san, the guy who was in that video, he stunned me with what he did with his work, you know. I'd sit there watching him, and this is in some of the video that I put up there, I think. I'd sit there watching him work, and he's working with no glasses. He's like 80 something, working with no glasses. He'd carve for a bit, carve for a bit, carve for a bit. Then he'd put his knife down, pick up his glasses, pick up the block and scrunch his face right up to the block with his glasses on and look at the stuff that he'd just done. He's inspecting it. Yeah, okay, good. Then he'd take his glasses off, put the block back down and get back to work. So he needed glasses to be able to see close up what he had done. But while he was doing it, he was just working what they call Mokuhankan, with nothing, just what do we say in English? Bare eyes, no assistance. And whether he was just putting it on for the TV cameras or whether that was the way he really worked all the time, I don't know. So it's up to each one of us. However long your eyes last, that's how long your career lasts. And for me, because I have access to these tools, my career is going to basically last as long as I can, stay alive and do this. So maybe there's people out there who think I'm cheating by using lenses and microscopes and stuff, but whatever, I don't think so. This is just me staying in business. All the experience I've got, Lenses don't really help. All they do is just, bring you a bit closer to it. It doesn't change anything about how it's carved or how you touch or how you move against the lines. Someone's talking about crap bread in Tokyo. Yes, it's one of the downsides to living in Japan for me. The Japanese bakeries are a parody of what I think a bakery should be. Your typical Japanese bakery. There is good bread to be found in Tokyo, but it takes some hunting. The typical Japanese neighborhood bakery serves up some white concoction that, I don't know, they call it bread, but I have got no idea what it is. But it's white paste of some kind. So yeah, whoever's criticizing the bread in Japan, I'm with you. I'm on you. There is good bread here, but not on a neighborhood accessible, inexpensive basis. It's a different culture. Obviously, rice culture is different. If you want a good bowl of rice in Chicago, maybe you got a problem. I don't know. So no excuses from me for Japanese bread. It's unbearable. Typical Japanese bakery has something they call hotel bread. Oh my God, you never put such god-awful white, sticky, glutinous crap in your mouth ever. So yes, anybody who's thinking that Dave is here living in this paradise that's Japan, it's not always like that. Don't talk about the bread. Yes, somebody's asking, I can't see what it says. How did yesterday's meeting go with the printer? It wasn't yesterday, it was Tuesday, and it was a busy, full day. Actually, we had a fun time, me and Kubota-san. He works by himself there in his own little workshop. He's one of the printers that used to work for Adachi in their heyday. And he's private now in his last days. He's retiring soon. He doesn't have much left. He's just a bit tired of it all. Printing is physically hard work, and he's kind of had enough. But we're using him for some of our work. He's doing some of our heroes prints. He did the last batch of the rickshaw cart print for us. Did a really nice job. And I used him on Tuesday. I asked him to do the test printing on the snake, the serpent. And it's here. I got a copy ready to show you. Here. Can I take a break from this card? Let me zoom out a little bit. This is the test printing. We showed this yesterday, I think. Maybe I should turn the light off because it's just a minute. Here we are. This is the first test prints. Wow. Of the Serpent Strikes, one of Jed's prints. The print itself has been around in Jed's catalog for a year or so, and the woodblock version, which we put on the Kickstarter last year, is now coming to life. And this is one of the test prints from Kubota-san. He and I did this together on Tuesday. And the reason I asked him to do the test printing instead of me do it myself is I wanted to make good video. If I do this myself, I'm like getting a color mixing, set the camera, start the camera, turn the camera on, coming back mixing. It's just crazy. I did it for year after year after year, but I wanted good video. So I took the paper and blocks over to him on Tuesday. We did a full test printing run. This was one of the first ones that came up. And I took 2 cameras and I spent all day recording. That stuff's all in the camera right now. When I'm going to get time to actually make the video and put it up, I don't know. But it's done. It's up and coming. And we found a couple of mistakes. I forgot to carve something at the end of the sword here, so I'm going to have to cover a new block for that. Other than that, it came out really, really nicely. I really like what we did, what Jed's design is, with the strong in the front, going lighter in the background, and then lighter, and just all these planes going back and back and back into the distance. I don't know if you can see. There's actually buildings in the back here that are faint. I love it when we do this. Woodblock prints are flat items, but you can make such depth in them. And I don't know much about the game part of it. This is obviously a very, very popular game. It's a Metal Gear Solid, and it's a game that people die for. And this character, too, seems to be a really iconic character that many people love. And Jed has done it nicely. The transparent thing behind the light, this is just so cool. So it's not in the catalog yet, because we're going to first, the batch of printing that Kubota-san is doing now first goes to Kickstarter backers. And once those are out of the way, we're going to do a second batch, and they will go into Jed's catalog. So I don't know exactly when it will be up online. What's this? It's end of February now, maybe middle of March. This will be in Jed's catalog. So watch his Facebook page or our Facebook page, and this will be available then. So I'm really, really happy to have another Ukiyo-e Heroes print come to life. We've been so slow getting these into the catalog. And Kubota-san is printing the edition now as we speak. Trying to find a spot where I was. Is it going to focus? I don't know. Let's see. Where am I? Yeah. Yeah, how are we doing for time? What is it? It's 9:17. We're coming to the last section of our stream here. Nay, so. Is Dave carving the Serpent Strikes? No, the Serpent Strikes, the blocks, the print you just saw, this was carved, the blocks for this was carved by our young carver, Kawasaki-san. She's the one who's been doing all the subscription prints for the last couple of years. So over the past half a year or so, she's been carving this one, taking her time. She does a subscription print, then takes some time to carve this, goes back to subscription, takes more time to carve this. And finally, after 6 months or so, it was finished. So the blocks Tuesday went for the first test printing. I didn't carve this. Our young printer, Kawasaki-san, carved this, and she did a nice job. The beard, the lines, the naturalness on the barrels, the distant guys. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have somebody on staff, a young girl, who can do work like this, We're not all dependent on me anymore. Jed keeps talking about this. It's the whole point of that Kickstarter campaign 6 years ago, was to help bring up another generation of workers, and we're doing it. Now, switching back to my own work, this is not Snake. This is my own woodblock here from the crane print that's in our catalog. And the blocks have been wearing out, and I've got to touch them up. And I'm talking too much instead of working, so... Look at this, wow. The ones at the end of each row, they're the ones that get hit by the brush the most. bring that paper around, I think. Well, this must be Suga-san, I guess, coming in. She's the only printer on duty today. Cameron won't be here today. He's going to work Saturday instead. He won't be here this morning. I think he said he's got to go and renew his driver's license or something. So this should be Suga-san, I think. Oh no, it could be Kawai-san getting the shop ready. We'll see. Yeah, it's Kawai-san. I recognize the footsteps. So I guess that's almost going to be it for me today here. I've got to get out now. And I've got to work on packaging those ports prints, because that customer has been very patient, but he's not going to wait forever. That's my job today, is getting that packaging done. So. Okay, what's going to be the future of the stream then here today? This is Thursday. Good morning, Kawai-san. Hello. Come and say hello to everybody.
Oh, good morning. Hello, everybody.
Can't see you.
Not get cold.
You okay? That's all. He said the mask isn't because he's got a cold. It's pollen. He's got a pollen allergy that even here in February already, it's coming up. So pollen, yeah, pollen allergy, kafun shock, isn't it? So anyway, let's listen to the stream today. Today's Thursday. I'm going to do this. I'll be sitting. So tomorrow's stream will be, I'm not sure. Tomorrow's stream I might be fixing this still some more, or I might be gluing up the packaging for the poets prints, or I have no idea yet. Anyway, there will be something here tomorrow morning. I'm not sure what it is yet. But for now, what are you guys talking about? Pizza, are you? Pizza, my God. Pizza in Japan can be so good and so bad both at the same time. Well, Cameron's off today, yes. So. Okay, I do have to get out of here. Let's do this. Thanks for watching. It's been a bit of a mixed stream today. Tomorrow might be even more mixed. Who knows? It was the third job I was supposed to get to. What was it? I forgot already. Oh yeah, checking prints. Maybe that's tomorrow. Who knows? Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. I suppose we're going to see this on YouTube. Are we in a few minutes? I don't know. That's the way it's going to go these days. So, thanks for watching in, dropping in. I hope something's been useful for you. I'll be back here again tomorrow. Same time, same station. See you then. Thank you and good morning. I'm going to sign off. By the way, did you see Kawai-san? Did you see the new, what has become the new mascot for the stream?
Yeah.
We have an owl. Did you hear the story? You saw, did you? My mother sent this the other day. So. Huh? Yeah. She sent me the thing for threading, and then she sent me the present. So. And I think the stream seemed to have named this. I don't know if it's finalized or not. It seems to be called the refrigerator. I don't know. So. Anyway, okay, here we go. Thanks very much, guys. I got to get to work. Thanks again. Bye-bye. See you next time.